Greetings and welcome, fellow doctors, to another episode of Let's Play 2 Point Hospital. Right, so this is gonna be a little bit different because, well, as you may have noticed, the past few episodes did not have my voice in it, which I'm sure you've all missed terribly. I'm not entirely sure what happened. I may have accidentally switched off my mic, or one of the cables got loose. That's not the point really here, there, or there. So this is a bit more of an after-action report where I actually get to evaluate my own performance through my own eyes. Something which I don't normally do, but is necessary in this case. Alright, so here I'm basically considering what I need and how to best optimize my doctors. Part of my plans are at this point to start segregating off parts of the hospital so that certain jobs are only let's put it a better way, that my staff doesn't have to walk all that far to do their jobs. So any stations that only need curing nurses will only have to stay in one particular corner of the hospital. Right now I'm trying to alleviate the growing problem of the queues at the GP's office as well as the mega scanner. Something which I have not readily got an answer for because, well, I'm out of money. Something I am going to solve later on. But right now I'm just basically spinning my wheels until I can get something done, because right now the hospital is not running all that efficiently, but it is still making positive money. I'm basically just waiting for a chance to actually get enough money to pay off one loan so I can take all the other loans again. And we'll have enough money to finish doing all the upgrades that I need to make sure that the hospital stays running properly. Yeah, the cure rate is a little bit low, which is unfortunately a side effect of having the queues be this long. It's a bit annoying. Because the patients don't get processed fast enough, they end up waiting far too long before they can get to the curing stations. Something I wish I can't readily do anything about. There's also a slight problem with the vending machines not really be able to handle quite this many people. So I potentially should actually put down more, but it has the side effect of get away with that message, that patients end up going to a weird corner of the hospital where they don't need to be in order to get a snack. Something I need to solve, but I don't think I do that this turn around because I'm still more focused on just getting the rooms finished and hopefully getting enough money so that I can actually pay off a loan. Although in 4 months' time I can easily just get the loans I need anyway. As long as, of course, my expenses, or my deficit, doesn't grow any bigger. Or my debt, rather, not my deficit. Because I think I'm still more or less running a profit. So for now I just have to make sure that my staff stays happy. Alright, I am running a deficit, but not a big one, yet. And I'm getting close, And end of the year. Well, at least we don't get the bankruptcy message again. I mean, I get why the game keeps flashing that in your face, but the problem mostly is that it happens at a time when the game says, oh, I need to do an autosave, which causes the message to stay hanging in the middle of the screen where you don't want it. Kinda wish it was just off to the side somewhere where I could see it, but ignore it. Alright, so basically I am waiting for money still. It's getting closer now. Just watching the flow of patients. It's not all that bad, and I could solve part of the problem by just sending people to the cures that I suspect they need, or just away so that the queues get solved anyway. Either is a valid option, although sending people away before they're cured, of course, lowers your reputation, which I don't necessarily want to do. Although it doesn't matter all that much, because I've got the reputation to spare for the objective. And here we are. Instantly, I solved my money problem. We're out of that and going strong. And now I can finally put down that radiator that I wanted or needed to have put down earlier, but couldn't because I was broke. Alright, so first order of business is making duplicates of the rooms that are backed up. Also a little bit curious as to why they're... the rooms should all be level 4 in Prestige, but when I picked them up I noticed that some of them were just below that, which I don't really know how that works because it shouldn't work that way. I'm also going to upgrade my GP officers. Now I know that they have a queue problem, but getting them higher levels will ensure that we in the future will have better chances of solving that. As well as upgrading all the machines and spending all the money I need. Now the biggest thing I really need is the DNA lab, so I can actually take a little bit more stress off the mega scanner, because some patients will now just be diagnosed by the DNA scanner. And again, I'm trying to be a little bit more compact than I probably need to be. Although, considering how expensive every corner of this hospital is, it's alright how I do this, I feel. I mean, even in my previous run at this hospital, I don't think I ever really expanded much beyond the inner hospital and the outer 4 slices, because I just didn't need it. I was able to cope with most of the influx of patients as it was. And I could just move on from there. Now, I will be building 2 of these rooms, because I do have enough genetics doctors on staff to do this. Yeah. That's a little bit why I actually go a little bit beyond Prestige 4. Just to make sure that it doesn't dip below where I need it to be, because part of the problem is, of course, that the rose bushes that I'm using to raise the prestige level of a room, they keep wilting on me, and that lowers the threshold just below Prestige 4. Now, of course, if you've got enough janitors, that's not much of a problem, but apparently my janitors are just a little bit occupied. So I'm going on a little bit of a spending spree and get as many people in as staff, although I've got some slim pickings. I do love getting student doctors. They are very fun to train up. You can mold them into whatever you wish. And so I will. Mold them like clay. Although, if you see any of the clay statues I have made throughout my life, you probably wonder if that's such a good idea. I have no idea what evil does, but I wager it's not good. Right, next order of business is actually to remodel the reception, because while it is functional and looks kind of neat, it's just a tad too big. It doesn't need to be this big. And it will also allow me to get some more to adjust my rooms a bit more so that people can walk around a little bit more easily. Alright, that'll do. And we're still making a profit. So overall, things are not going too badly. Now, for the most part, I just need to wait until things get settled in a bit, because of course once you build new facilities, they don't instantly become useful to you. And I also need to wait for my current crop of doctors to finish their training.
We're sorry,
Now, I'm hiring assistants in this case, partially because I want to make sure that I can fill out the reception desk, of course, but also for another reason. But first, I think I'm gonna start moving around the hospital facilities. Yeah, I'm gonna be putting the doctor stuff over there and the nurse stuff over here. So all doctor clinics are going to be moved here, shifting around the various machines just to make sure that it fits. Being practical with my seating arrangements. And I'm mostly trying to remember off the top of my head which rooms are actually doctor facilities and which are not. Although that's not really relevant to this particular instance. I think it's mostly settled. Yeah, though the head office also needs to move. I'm leaving those gaps on purpose. Right. So I can put in the room there. Because we need staff rooms in as many places as we can to make sure that the staff doesn't have to run all the way across the field to get to some rest.
They protect against sunburn and knobbly knee syndrome. Take heed, dear listeners.
Alright. Time to put genetics doctors to more effective use now that I notice that the room is actually needed but not currently occupied by a doctor. And I still have the new doctors that I need to assign to something. But most of my doctors are still quite low level and all need some training, so I probably will be creating another training room soon to start training them up a bit. And yeah, this annoys me a little bit. The backless benches just have a tendency to not quite want to line up according to my wishes, because I know there should be enough space for 3 benches, and the backless benches just refuse to obey me. Even though they should act just like every other bench, even if they are almost 3 times as expensive. So their comfort better be worth it. Right, and there's a copy of the DNA lab. Just swapping out the door to the front so I can keep putting rooms next to them. Because I potentially will need way more GP's offices still. Yep, some easy achievements. And we are in the negatives again. Boy, does that money fly out of the door, but we should soon have more than enough GP's offices to handle the influx of patients again. As I'm already not getting any queue, well, most of the queue notifications actually started fading away from the center bit, which is usually a good sign that the queue situation is getting dealt with.
Janitor, to repair drum mixer.
And we are getting back into the positives again. That's it, just making the seating comfortable again. Right, I'm getting some more assistance because the next step is to actually make this particular segment a bit more comfortable. Although first I need to ensure that the janitors are actually doing their job well, because Can't have these ghosts running around everywhere. Yeah, that just won't do.
Oh,
Instantly fulfilling that staff request, which is nice. Now, I believe at the moment my DNA labs are basically just needed for diagnosis, because I don't have any diagnosed cases of genetic illnesses. And that's fine. Right, come on. Let's move on to the next batch. And I think we're mostly dealing with the Q problem. Although, once again, I've taken some doctors out of the routine. Well, I should have enough spare doctors that they should be able to fill in the gaps. Student doctors, even though they're not efficient at it, they can do the job. Alright, that's time to build the cafe. Now, I'm still not entirely sure of what the best placement is for a cafe. Because I'm just not all that sure about where it's most effective. But I think in diagnosis areas it's probably reasonably effective. Because you usually have a lot of people waiting around there. So that's good. Yeah, I'm not even entirely sure it's cold or hot in there, because the cafes are a bit of a strange room, because they're not an actual room. They're just basically an area, you more or less designate as a room, but is not a room because it's open. And so I did check the temperature afterwards, and it looks fine now. So that should help keep the people happy in the diagnosis offices a little bit better than vending machines can, although you can't quite replace vending machines by a cafe either. Some people will just want a quick fix, and having more options for them to feed, be distracted, is good. Alright. As long as I can keep my hospital value high enough, it shouldn't be too much of a problem, because I will then be able to take out the biggest loans at every point whenever it becomes available. So I can always dig myself out of debt. So now I'm just focusing on getting the basic upgrades for my diagnosis machines, so that I can cut down on the queues even further, because the patients will need less diagnosis and thus hold up less room in the queues. And I'm just noticing how many people are actually queuing up for the gift shop, and I'm wondering, should I put down another one? Maybe? Maybe. Now, I'm not entirely convinced that it's a good idea to put a cafe near your curing facilities, because frankly the queues near the curing facility shouldn't be all that long, and if they are, that probably means you should put down some more curing facilities or duplicate them. And so now I'm just looking for some more assistance, so that I can fill out the needs in the cafe. And we got lots of deaths still, because the queues are still being too long and I'm still training people. So I figure I need another GP's office. Right. On to the next batch. And now we have earthquakes. But that'll do it. Thank you all for watching. See you all next time.